What is going on, guys? Hello. So today I thought I would get started on a series that I've been thinking about doing for a while. You know, I've always wanted to have some kind of smaller, non-scripted series on here that was just me sitting and chatting, you know, about a movie or something that I saw for 5 to 10 minutes each, maybe more, maybe less. You know, depends on how much I have to say about what I'm talking about. And because we're all stuck at home right now due to a little buddy boy known as the coronavirus. You know, we're all stuck at home. I decided I'd call this series "Stuck at Home Movies." The home movies, get it? Because it's a pun. I'm smart. Don't. I got the big brain plays. So yeah, this is episode 1, and because I'm filming and releasing this on the release date of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, or part 1 of the Final Fantasy VII Remake, I haven't gotten to play it yet. I'm filming this video so I can go downstairs and play the game, because I'm so excited for it. But last night, so let's get this over with. Last night I watched Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. It released in 2004 or 2005, I think. It basically functions as a sequel to the original Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1, which, if you haven't, I want to get this out of the way. If you haven't played the original Final Fantasy VII, not the remake, because the remake only doesn't do the whole story of the original game. This is a sequel to the original game. It functions less as a standalone movie and more as a continuation of that original story, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. So let's just get the plot out of the way. Usually, I'm not always going to go over the plot. I feel like with some of these, if you know the game or the movie or whatever I'm talking about, you'll be able to know what you'll know the plot. There's a good chance you've seen it. So the plot of this is, I'm not going to go over the plot of the original game, but the plot of the movie is there's this disease that's taken over, or not taking over, that a bunch of people are contracting in the world of Final Fantasy VII. And there's also these guys named are they supposed to be the Advent Children? Am I just now realizing this? But these guys who are like remnants of Sephiroth, kind of, sort of. This is a JRPG, so the plot doesn't have to make sense. And they're spreading it, sort of, and they also are trying to recreate Sephiroth because he worked in the first game. Let's make him a villain in the second one. Or in the movie. This is dumb. Alright, here's the thing. I don't know if I'm the idiot or if it's just poorly written, but I have a thing where with a lot of JRPGs specifically, basically any game made by Square Enix, I'll think that I understand the plot, and I don't. Like, I'll be playing and I'll watch and I'll be like, all right, this kind of makes sense. I get the basics. Okay, I'm sure things will be explained later. And then they never get explained later. I went into the, I promise you, I played Final Fantasy VII just this past, September or October. I don't remember when. But I have played Final Fantasy VII, I promise. Thing is, though, apparently, maybe I just have really bad reading comprehension skills. So the thing with Jenova is that I thought that she was the Earth. I didn't realize that she was a weird alien goddess monster that wants to eat the Earth and use it as a vessel. So I had that 100% backwards. I'm an idiot. So maybe that'll inform you for the rest of this review. I'm not usually that stupid. I usually am better at picking up on the basic plot of something. Now, here's the issue, is that that informs the plot. So I had to do a Google search to hey, what the hell is Jenova again? Because I'm an idiot, apparently. And when I was while I was watching the movie, I had to pause it. And because, that thing that happens where you hear a voice actor or even just a normal actor in a movie or a show or something, you're like, I know them from somewhere. It was the guy who voices Vincent. He voices Zeb in Star Wars Rebels. I knew him from somewhere. So while I was looking on the Wikipedia page, I noticed that they mention that the quote is something to the effect of, critics describe the movie as incomprehensible to newcomers and just a vehicle to go from one action scene to another. Yeah, the plot is 100% incomprehensible if you did not play the first game. But, like, that's not necessarily a bad thing, you know? I don't like this idea that, like, oh, movies that are sequels should be accessible to people who didn't watch the first movie. Why are you watching the second movie if you didn't watch the first one? Why are you watching the continuation of a story if you didn't see the beginning of the story? That's like sitting down and to watch the next movie I'm gonna probably do is Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Now that movie has a number 9 on the title. Why didn't you watch at least 7 and 8? You don't need a recap. You shouldn't have a recap because this is a continuation. There's no reason. So I can't hold that against it. I'm just an idiot. So let's. The other thing that was mentioned were the action scenes. You know, the plot is very much just one, like going from one action scene to another. Fine, you know, the action scenes are decently well done. They're to the dumb, over-the-top anime fun that I get off on, so I can't really fault it for that. The only thing, though, is, the plot doesn't do a whole lot. And then the thing with the action scenes, I do have to criticize them. A lot of the action scenes are just Cloud fights the main 3 villains, because it's 3 of the, like, remnants of Sephiroth. One of their names is Kenshi, or Kenshin, I think. I don't know the other 2's names. I don't think they ever get actually mentioned. But there's, like, 10 action scenes in the movie. 4 of them are just Cloud and those guys. And 2 out of the 4, they're all on motorcycles for some reason. Which is another thing I don't understand. Why is the motorcycle scene from Final Fantasy VII so iconic? It's such a small part of the game. Why did they feel the need to make that such a big part of his character? That doesn't make sense to me. Although there was the one cool scene in the tunnel fight where the guy, like, the guy with the thing on his fist that he punches people with, he's on his motorcycle and it flips over. It flips over and he, like, puts his fist in the ground and he, like, is holding onto the motorcycle with his legs and then he just throws it at Cloud. That part is amazing. I, like, screamed. Again, the action scenes are great. I can't think of one that was really boring. Again, it's just... The only one that was boring was, ironically, the one at the very beginning, where the 3 of them attack Cloud the first time. That was kind of lame. I also have to criticize... they also do this thing with a lot of action scenes where they cut so many times that it's hard to understand what's going on, which is bad, because with an action scene, with a fight, you should know what the stakes are. You should know what's happening. And they just do so many random jump cuts, so it's almost incomprehensible. There's also a couple shots where they have, like... It's very confusing. Like, there's one shot where, during one of the fight scenes, Tifa is fighting one of these guys who's, like, a remnant of Sephiroth. I don't know their names, and I don't really care because their names aren't important. And she, like... jumps up against a wall of a building that they're in, and the angle is so weird, and it's like, is this supposed to be, like, fan service? Is this supposed to be sexual? Because don't get me wrong, Tifa's fucking hot. I love Tifa. Tifa's titties are, like, 50% the reason why I'm excited to play this remake. Don't get it twisted. I love Tifa. But, it's just, it's because it's not in a sexual way. And also, why would it be a sexual way? This is an action scene. I'm not jerking off to the titties. I'm jerking off to the action, baby. That's what I'm here for. Pick one. This ain't Bayonetta. This is Final Fantasy. Speaking of Tifa and the other characters, for them, I don't know. There's more... Like, there's a couple characters who are done well. Like, when Sephiroth shows up at the end, he's done pretty well. I liked him in this. Tifa also is done well, the way she's written. Most of the side characters are also decent. Something I didn't like was the way they used Marlene, because for some reason they have Marlene living with Tifa and Cloud, which are Tifa and Cloud a couple, like, because I'm okay with that, you know, put you know, their OTP, you know, put them together. But why is Marlene living with them? Why isn't she living with Barrett? What is Barrett doing? I mean, he says he's like mining somewhere or something, you know, like a voicemail, but that's never really made clear. Which sucks because Marlene gets more screen time than all of the other like party members from the original game combined. Like, in the original game, the thing with Marlene is that she's just a child. In the original game, her only purpose is to make the other characters, specifically Barrett, but after she gets kidnapped by Shinra, it's the whole party who's really fighting so she's okay. They're trying to protect her. That's Barrett's motivation, and especially the beginning with how he forms Avalanche, or maybe it's not, because again, I've made it clear that I played through this entire game. I 100%ed it. I got the Platinum Trophy on PlayStation, and clearly I don't understand the main antagonist's motivations. Okay. But it really is disappointing that the main, and like, one of the main characters, Barrett, his reason for like being a part of Avalanche is so he can have a world that hasn't had the life sucked out of it by Shinra. So not just he survives, not just so everyone survives, but so Marlene, his adopted daughter, she specifically survives. If I didn't know, again, there's like one-off line about Barrett where he's like, hey, Marlene better be okay, you know, like, and Cloud and Tifa are like, oh yeah, and it's a joke. But if that line wasn't in there, you would just assume that Marlene was like Denzel or whatever the other kid's name was. That she was just another kid that Cloud and Tifa had taken in. Which, why? Again, are they a couple? Are they adopting kids? Because I'm okay with that, you know? I think they should be together. For all of you Cloud and Aerith shippers, she gets to be in heaven with Zack. So it all works out, actually. Also, Kate Sith, what is he doing there? I don't want to dwell on that too long, but it just seems weird. Also, I have a list of characters I got to talk about. Cloud is not his normal Final Fantasy VII self. He's his Kingdom Hearts edgy self. Don't get me wrong, I love Kingdom Hearts. I played like every Kingdom Hearts game before I even thought about a Final Fantasy game. I promise you. I grew up with Edgelord Cloud, who doesn't want to let anyone in, and the Sephiroth is a dark part of me, blah, 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 blah. You know, I love it. Don't get me wrong, it's amazing and he's great. That is my Cloud. But it's not this Cloud, you know what I mean? The Cloud we see in Kingdom Hearts isn't the same Cloud we see in Final Fantasy. And yet in this movie, it is the Cloud from Final Fantasy. It's supposed to be him. But he's written the way he is in the original. He's written the way he is in Kingdom Hearts, which I'm not a fan of. It's just because it's not consistent. You know, I love the dumb voice, like all the dumb lines in this movie, and the voice acting is it's hit or miss. I'm watching a dubbed anime. I went into it expecting this. You know, same with the whole thing. I went into this movie expecting, like, I got what I expected. You know, it's an anime action movie based on a video game that's directed by Tetsuya Nomura. Again, I'm a massive Kingdom Hearts fan first. I went into this expecting it, you know? Also Vincent, I don't know what they were doing with him. Why does he play a role than Barrett and Yuffie and Sid and Red 13 and Kate Sith? Why is he more important? He's a side character. He's like it's possible to beat the entire game without even knowing that Vincent exists, you know? So it just feels weird that he's there and that he plays a bigger role than anyone else. I don't get me wrong, Vincent is one of my favorite characters. Like, my favorite party to have was, like, Cloud, of course, and then Tifa and Vincent. I do really like all three of them, or both of them, and him, and Vincent. Vincent's great. He's cool. He's super edgy, and I love him. But then there's the scene where Cloud is getting his ass handed to him by the Turks. Not the Turks, the other guys. I'll get to the Turks, don't get me wrong. By the Remnant guys. and Vincent comes to save him, but he's like he's like this red cloak with like guns shooting out, and it's cool. And when I saw it, I was like, "Is that Vincent? Is that the boy? Is he here?" And it was. But where was that in the original game? Why didn't you pull that shit out, Vincent? Which, I think a better way to do that, this is such a small thing that it really isn't important. This is just what I would have done. Now, Vincent's whole mechanic in the games was that his limit turned him into this like werewolf or other kind of monster. Why didn't he come in as like a werewolf? That way it would have kept in line with his moveset in the original game, like what his powers were and what he canonically could do without pulling out some random new shit. And it would still have the same effect because, you see him come in and rescue Cloud, and it looks like, if you've played the original game, you're like, oh, that looks familiar. Is that Vincent? Are they bringing Vincent out? And then when it gets revealed to actually be him, he turns back into his like human form. You're like, oh, yes, it's the boy! We love him! It serves the same effect and just helps continuity. That's a nitpick, though. Not really important. And then the Turks. Again, this might be part of me not understanding the plot because I'm an idiot, but I thought the Turks were dead. And also, it was heavily implied in the movie that Sang and Elena were dead, but they weren't? Why? Like, Kenshi, or whatever the hell his name is, does like the thing from the first Avengers movie where Nick Fury comes in and he throws the cards on the table. It's like Coulson had these in his pocket, and they have blood on them. Why would you do that? Because, you come to care about the Turks as you're playing the game, because they are characters. Although they're antagonists, they feel like they're very connected to the main characters. Like, so why make it seem like they've been killed when they haven't been? If they had been killed off screen, then that's fine. They're such small characters that I feel like it would work, But whatever. What else do I have to talk about? They did this thing. All right, so I have a trope that I really love where it's this thing where you have like a party of characters and every character has like this little thing and like this to do one big attack, Every character will like boost up the protagonist. They do that in the scene where they're fighting the giant monster that's attacking the city, where like Cloud jumps up and everyone gives him a boost and says like one line to him. I love that shit. I don't care that you're breaking the laws of physics. You're beating them with you're breaking the laws of physics with the power of friendship. That's what I love. That's so great. It's Cloud, and then he jumps up, and then Yuffie's there, and she says, "Go on ahead, you're doing great." And then Red 13 and Kate Sith are like, "Yeah, you're doing awesome." And then Barrett's like, "Yeah, go on ahead, beat him." And then Vincent's like, something edgy. And then Tifa's like, "I believe in you." And then Cloud goes up and he hits him, and it's like, yes, this is it. You beat him with the power of friendship. That's what I love. Except in an indirect way, of course, because if it was direct, it's like, I'm watching a Final Fantasy movie, not Steven Universe, please. There is a version of this trope, though, that I hate, If it's done well, I'm a sucker for it. If it's done poorly, I hate it because it's so hokey and lame. They do this thing, again, this is during Cloud's fight against Sephiroth, where Cid's airship, or against Kenshin before he turns into, whatever, that's not important. Cid's airship flies in, and all the rest of the party is on there, and they do this thing where every single character has to get one comment in, and it can't be a natural conversation because Tifa has to say something, and then Cid has to comment, and then Barrett has to comment, and then Yuffie has to comment, and then Red 13 has to comment, and it's like, have a conversation with characters without having... not every character has to talk in succession. I won't forget that they're there if they don't put their 2 cents in every 5 minutes in alphabetical order, okay? I hate that so much because it just doesn't... It feels so unnatural. That's not how conversations work. You don't have... Like, very rarely is it that Again, someone gives an explanation, and then someone gives a comment like, oh, that just, like, Tifa's like, oh, he has to fight on his own, and, which is another trope that I hate. I'll get to that. Where Tifa's like, oh, he has to go and have this fight on his own, and then Sid's like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then Yuffie's like, no, you're an idiot, and Barrett's like, well, you shut up, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's, shut up. Just talk like people. Oh, wait, this is a Square Enix game directed by Tetsuya Nomura. They're not allowed to talk like real people. Of course. That's fine. Again, knew what I was getting into. Not necessarily disappointed by anything other than that specific thing and all the other specific things that I've talked about in this video. But there's another thing that I hate. The main character has to go on alone into the final fight. The final, cutscene, because it's not even a fight. It's a cutscene where you press a button against Sephiroth in the original game where it's just Cloud. That's fine. That works. Because that's, inside Cloud's heart or whatever. And it's him really vanquishing Sephiroth. I don't know what it's supposed to be symbolic of. And it's cool. That's the main thing, is that it's cool. It's the every character, all the side characters aren't allowed to help the main character because it's his fight. Fucking no, it's not. You know what Sephiroth's gonna do? He laid it out while he was floating in the sky, monologuing. He wants to hollow out the Earth and use it as a vessel to rocket into some other planet and rinse and repeat, I think. There's more than just Cloud on the Earth! If Cloud loses, then what are you gonna do? You're lucky that Cloud won. Why did the 7... There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of you on that airship. Help him! Go and help him! The only time that trope is done well is in fucking Labyrinth. Because the joke in that movie... It's not even a joke. It's just a plot point. That Sarah is a big dumb nerd. And she only ever reads books and shit. And when she's like, no, I have to face him alone. That's the way that it's done. And all the other characters are like, well, shit, I guess that's the way it's done. I guess that's what we gotta do. The joke is that it's a trope. And again, Sarah's a big dumb nerd, which is how she got into the plot of the movie in the first place. Don't worry, I'll make a Labyrinth video eventually. I want to get to the end because I've been recording for almost 23 minutes. And I really want to play this game. This movie should have been a game. Honestly. I mean, I know it came out 6 or 7 years after the original. But maybe, I think more actually. But what's the... if it's just a bunch of cool action scenes, make it a game. Honestly, I'm more excited... I don't know if I'm ever going to want to watch this movie again because it's just a bunch of cool action scenes that I'd rather play it in a game. The plot isn't very engaging, especially if you're not super invested into the original game. Now, I've only ever played the original game. I haven't played Crisis Core or Dirge of Cerberus. I haven't watched any of the other things related to this. I've only played the original game and watched Advent Children now. So maybe I don't understand the entire plot. Although this came out before the other anime thing and before Crisis Core and before Dirge of Cerberus. So I don't know. Did it come out before Dirge of Cerberus? I don't fucking know. Maybe that's why Vincent's a main character, because that game follows him for some reason. It just is very... It's not anything special. Again, if you're not a fan of the original game, that's the only way I would recommend it to you, is if you are a big fan of the original Final Fantasy and you, for some reason, haven't seen it. If you finish the remake and you need some more shit involving this universe... Go watch the movie. Go for it. You might enjoy it, At the very least, you'll enjoy the dumb, over-the-top action. That's fine. Again, outside of that, there isn't a whole lot here. Some things I like, of course, the action. Some of the writing is fun, especially with Reno and Rude. They're pretty well written. I might be biased because they had Reno be voiced by Quentin Flynn, who is Daddy. He basically just plays... Reno is just written as Axel in this. You could have just put Axel in there, and I would have been fine with it. Nothing would have changed. Again, it's just nothing special. Nothing too groundbreaking with this, which makes me disappointed that this is what I started with. Again, I really only started with this one because the remake's coming out today, of course. You know, you gotta get them sweet, sweet views. This movie's relevant. My idea for the plot, I would change it to focus more on the disease, the geostigma or whatever they're calling it. Just make it so that for something forces all the party members together, because it's never really explained why they're separate. What are they all doing? I mean, you can imagine it, but like, why are they all apart? You know, I want these characters to be together. You know, I want them to stay friends. So, like, if they've separated or for whatever reason, give them a reason to come back together and just go on one last adventure. And then it can be hinted, like, maybe they're trying to find the cure for this disease. They gotta go to fucking the Northern Mountain or wherever the hell Sephiroth is in the end of the game. They gotta make their way up there. Sure. And that's the plot of the game, is them exploring, and then or the plot of the movie. And then have the Turks and Shinra be fucking around, and have the main antagonists be Kenshi and the other remnants of Sephiroth, the Advent Children. And then at the end, you can have Sephiroth come back. Because that scene, that one shot where Cloud is like jumping down and attacking Kenshi, and the second he hits, he turns into Sephiroth. That's the most badass thing ever. While I'm on, again, smaller things that I think were cool, the musical cues. Like, whenever you'd think about Aerith, you'd hear the one song that I guess is linked to her, which I thought it was more linked to Tifa, but I guess it's just like the generic love song or whatever. That's fine. That was cute. During Tifa's fight against whatever his name is, it plays like a piano rendition of the fight music, like the generic battle music from Final Fantasy VII. That's cute. I liked it. And then afterwards, when he gets a call, it plays the like victory jingle. That's, again, you know, all right, you got me. I love small shit like that. I just, I don't know, wish it was a little more special, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I honestly have to say that this movie was very meh. I give it 3 materia orbs out of 5, which is another thing I like. They contextualize the materia orbs. They actually exist in the universe outside of a single tutorial, like the generic ones. Which it's like, okay, is that why no one's using spells or anything? Why did Cloud have all of it? Whatever, I don't care. That's a lame thing. I mean, I get it. So it's like the characters can use their individual movesets, but whatever. I gotta end this. I've been recording for almost 28 minutes now. But yeah, if you like this video, leave it a like, subscribe. I'm gonna probably maybe tomorrow, I'm gonna come out with another one. It'll probably be episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. I want to make a video on that. I'm also thinking about, because Easter's coming up, I might do a Jesus Christ Superstar review. Next, I definitely want to do more just other movies that I've been wanting to see. That's the whole point of this series, is to watch movies that I've been wanting to watch, and now that I'm stuck at home, I have to watch. So definitely Into the Spider-Verse I want to do. And then just any like Marvel movies I haven't watched, and any like Disney, Pixar movies that I have just missed for whatever reason, that are on like streaming services or whatever. Just that are easy to get access to. Like, the only reason I watched this movie was because I could find it for free. So yeah, again, I'm going to leave it here. I've been recording for way too long. I like how at the beginning I say, oh, it's going to be 5 to 10 minutes long, and I've been recording for almost a half an hour. I'm going to go play the remake now. Have fun. Bye. I was going to do a bit where I go to walk out, but then I realized that I'd have to come back and turn off the camera. So I'm just going to go now.